So you guys are ready now, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Hit the button. Press the fucking button.
I already did.
Eric's gay.
And Eric's so gay. 0.4% not explicit. We're not dropping F-bombs to put this on iHeartRadio.
Yes, this is important, Joey. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry.
All right. Welcome to one of the most professional shows in radio history. Oh, wow.
Wow. You can't even keep a straight face while saying that.
All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of Bobby's Locked and Loaded. A long-awaited edition. We got Dr. Mark and William Geist back with us in the studio tonight, and a cool topic. I had a lot of fun researching, and apparently I'm the only one who did any research.
No, I spent a couple minutes.
Yeah, you got a piece of paper out and looked at it. That's about it. Okay, so
I watched some videos.
yeah. I said Darren Kuyu, and he was like, "Is that Star Trek? That's Star Trek, right?" No, it's not Star Trek.
Listen, it's not his fault. As soon as he types in the word black hole, something else came up.
So we're going to attempt our best to keep this professional. Wink, wink. Total BS.
Well,
and it's all you now.
well, we do know that due to technical problems at this moment in time, we won't be, dealing with any off-topic phone calls. Welcome everybody to Locked and Loaded, and the most, and I cannot say that enough. The most requested guest, Dr. Mark, and of course, with Dr. Mark, we also have Glockgeist, who a lot of people have been asking me, is he still alive? Glockgeist, are you there?
I'm here in spirit.
So
by spirit, he means bourbon.
Spirit, he means bourbon.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Tonight, as always, a big thanks to John Solar 283 for making this happen. I appreciate everybody that's out there. I have to hit the refresh button so that I can see the chat room. With us in studio, we have, as always, Jim, your Hornet Fixer.
And the creepy intros just keep coming.
As I said, we've got Glockgeist, William with us, Joey Cuz, and of course Dr. Mark. So the topic for tonight is the moon hollow? Now, when I talked to Dr. Mark about this, and he this is the subject he wanted to talk about, I was like, okay, so Dr. Mark has gotten into a good bag of something, and maybe I should find out who his dealer is. But when you actually do research on it, this is not just a hokey subject. There's everything like NASA themselves that don't even. It's kind of like one of those things, and of course I'll leave this all up to Dr. Mark, but when they actually shot the lunar modular at the moon, where the Earth would make basically no sound, whenever the moon is hit with something, it literally rings for hours. And why, Dr. Mark, why would it do that?
You'd have to have something that's capable of resonance. Generally, you wouldn't think soils or water, which are mostly what the Earth is made of, can resonate. So the obvious question is, why the resonance on the moon and it doesn't happen on the Earth? And that's one of the things people have pointed to as pretty good evidence on it. The other question is, as you alluded, one of the things that Werner von Braun had them do was dump off the rocket portion of the LEM, the Lunar Excursion Module, from Apollo 11. It hit. It rang for quite some time. He said, well, let's hit it with something bigger. Let's see what happens. German scientists think that way. Let's hit it with a bigger hammer. This time they dropped a Saturn IV-B booster off from Apollo 14. And instead of bonging for a little while, it bonged for about 3 hours. As you said, people who believe this may be bonging quite a bit, but it's not really that kind of thing. What causes things to resonate? And what kind of materials can resonate? Dirt, usually not one of them. This kind of stuff. And we know that the surface of the moon is pretty much fine soils with a few rocks and a lot of vacuum, not much else. So where did it come from? It's one of the main things I wanted people to think about when they call in tonight is, the evidence pro and con on this as to why it may or may not have some kind of resonance. The main thing people are thinking of is it's a crystal or it's a metal.
Well,
so anyway, long answer to your short question, Eric.
Well, like I said, I'm being chastised because, okay, if I was to make up some excuses, I have some out of town guests, pre-dawn death, and his his lovely
friend.
Wow.
Caitlin is with, so I've been very occupied, and not to mention work. But in a very short amount of time in doing some research on this, you want to get away from the NASA BS or why it's amazing if you actually look at different people that have come up with reasons. You'll find everything from the moon is hollow to the moon was basically purpose built by someone, something. And, then you get everything from why is it there? I mean, is it possible that, this is like a duck blind? We are being observed by like an alien race.
Yes, but are we in season?
I'd
worry about that.
I mean, it's very interesting because, like you said, when they got basically the ring, in any experimentation that they've done with the Earth, it's a completely different thing. It's a solid core. You can hit it with whatever you want, and you might get the immediate response of the impact, but it doesn't do what the moon is doing.
Exactly. Well, you alluded to an interesting point. When you're talking about planets and planetoids and everything out there, they don't form hollow. I mean, basically, there's no way for them to do that. Everything we understand about planetary formation says they don't make eggs out there; they make planets. So, if it is hollow, jumping way ahead here, how'd it get here? I mean, it didn't just happen out there. It didn't occur as a hollow sphere. Hollow spheres are made. Who made it? Obviously, somebody did, and I don't think it was NASA. So, if they made it, did they make it here? Make it somewhere else and do it here? And if so, would they make it up? These are all things I kind of think people need to think about. I think your knee-jerk reaction, most people go, that's bull. I'm not going to talk to people. These people are nuts. The moon can't be hollow. There's a whole bunch of evidence, as you say, as John was talking about earlier. A whole bunch of evidence says it really has some peculiar properties we can't account for. And one of the ways to account for it is being hollow.
Coming in, if you guys want to hear them. Some are silly, obviously. But, Smallway made an interesting comment. He said, is it a tuning fork? Which, as I know you're trying to be funny, actually it's kind of what he's actually saying is that resonance, that different density in portions of the planet cause it to behave like a tuning fork. So if you were trying to be funny, you actually were being very correct. The moon made of cheese.
It is.
Okay,
Absolutely is.
And Cobra Burnout said, purposely built by a higher power? ?
Yeah. Well, if it wasn't, then who has the technology to make something that big?
Well, and that's
I
another
mean, you got to
interesting
think.
point.
Obviously, we don't. So
That's a very interesting point. Is when you stop for a minute and go, okay, think of the size of the moon. Somebody's playing around with planetary size stuff. This is like Star Wars stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
the big moon, you know, that flew around. I mean, but it's pretty interesting when you stop and you see some of the stuff they're talking about. Like I said, I was looking about Darren Kuyu. That what drew me to that about this piece of information was here is a group that is like, oh my God, how long ago was it? What was that? 800 BC? I think it was 800 BC.
Yeah.
And this is a group that possessed. Now, when I say this, you have to study it or look it up or at least learn about it to understand what I'm saying. They actually, at that time, imagine, possessed more in the way of physical engineering and engineering knowledge than we would know now. That's kind of like how crazy that would be. To have a city built like 13 levels underground out of stone that if you make one mistake, it all collapses. Yet it's still present there today. All right, so every single piece of this was built exactly perfect. So perfect physical engineering. I mean, these would be masters of engineering. And by the way, when they became masters of engineering would have been the time they did it the first time. Figure that out. How's that even possible? The first time somebody builds something like this, they're actually they invent engineering and become the masters of it at the exact same moment in time. That's kind of freaky.
Yeah, not likely.
Yeah, I mean, to possess more knowledge in engineering than we possess now. That's kind of like, how the hell? What?
Yeah, but why? Let's just go off of that. Someone had the technology to build something as big as the moon and then put it in the orbit to the Earth. It still kind of gets you back to why? What would you... It brings me back to a Star Trek episode called Duck Blind.
And the interesting part is when you start to really go back and look at it, and I'm not trying to speak for Dr. Mark, I'm just telling what I learned today, was you start to roll back into time frames, and now this totally encompasses biblical time too, because there are some people like, what's his name there, Dr. Mark, the crazy-haired one?
Giorgio Tsoukalos.
Tsoukalos, yeah. Now he's a special fella, but he has some interesting concepts. Like the Bible is all. Well, he says the Bible is correct. You're like, whoa! You're a scientist. What? He says the Bible is correct. Yes, it is. The flood really happened. Why? Because we got it wrong. They got it wrong, and they had to wipe everything out. Have to start over again, so the flood happens. So he's actually adding validity to these different things by saying all these horrible things that happened to mankind. All right. From the quote-unquote gods really actually happened. They got it wrong. What apparently he's trying to say is his thought process, or what he's leading to is there is a creation happening of a group of people that, for I guess in simplicity you'd say slavery, right? Dr. Mark, would you say slavery? I mean, that's kind of what it led me to believe, is they had a race of people they were fixing or creating more subservient or whatever to perform tasks.
Well, less than slaves, more like draft animals.
Okay, all right.
As in genetically engineered muscle, if you will.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty low level compared to them.
Yeah, I verbalized that wrong. Yeah, that'd be the right way of saying it. Yeah, but they were creating a race to do a job.
Yep.
And sometimes they went, "Oops, holy crap, that can't be." What do you want? Let them believe the gods have done this because of law, and you have a flood. There you go, wiped out. Now we have that explained and blah blah blah. And as you start to listen to this guy and his explanation, he then begins to talk about factions arguing and fighting amongst themselves that might have caused the creation of the underground city of Darren Kuyu. And I'll shut up there and let you continue on.
Well, back at the beginning, one thing you said was, what kind of people could move in here? Something you may not have heard of, there was a Russian astronomer in Nikolai Kardashev back in '64. And he put forth a hypothesis that Carl Sagan jumped on, so did a lot of other people, called the Kardashev scale. And it's where does your civilization rank? And his theory was the older and more technologically advanced civilization, or I just say more technologically advanced, the more energy and the more space it can control. Type 1 civilization gets energy from its parent star. And where we are, we're kind of a low type 1. All we get is a partial amount of the sun's radiation. A type 2 has all of the radiation of that star available to it because they built a sphere around it. Well, the Dyson sphere was one of the things Freeman Dyson named it way back when. A type 3 does the same thing with a whole galaxy. They enclose the galaxy and use every bit of energy from the central black hole in the galaxy to all of the stars inside a galaxy for their energy. The question is, if somebody wanted to build something as to them, people who can do things on that scale have no problem at all building a sphere and towing it into place. But the question that begs about putting something like that here is, what was the purpose? Is it a duck blind? Are they just watching us? Does it have some other purpose? Is it intended for us to go up there and reach Nirvana, not the band, and find things out? Go up there and find out their interstellar, like the movie. So we'll tell you one thing for sure, though. Highly interesting. Every planet rotates on an axis like ours does. The axis is subject to precession. And the precession of the axis of a planet can go all the way up to at least 85 degrees off of its original axis. Now imagine what would happen during the lifetime of all the animal life on Earth if the Earth went 85 degrees off north and south. Oh, wow. You then have a planet spinning on its side.
Yep.
Now if it was spinning with the axis toward the sun and away, part of it's going to be real hot all the time, and part of it's going to be real cold all the time. That would tend to mess up evolution in a big way, and it sure would tend to get in the way of evolving sentient species like us. So, what stabilizes a planet from flipping its axis too much? Turns out that having a satellite coming around it tends to keep a planet from precessing too much. Guess what? The Earth's moon, even though it doesn't weigh very much compared to us, is just enough mass to keep our axis pretty much centered within a few degrees of where it is. It moves in circles, as anyone will tell you, but it doesn't flip on its side. So let's back up a little bit. Is there another purpose to the moon being there besides what we're thinking?
Now, Dr. Mark.
It's just one possibility.
I'm just bringing you stuff from the chat room, and again, thank you guys.
Sure.
Keep bringing the comments. The Ripco Burnout says that the moon is moving away from the Earth by 1.6 inches per year. Why did the overlords set it up this way? Is it to keep from falling in and killing us? Kind of a precaution.
Well, it's kind of like an experiment. You set it up and walk away and see what happens. You can't deny the laws of physics, and if you put something in an orbit around another planetary body, sooner or later it's either going to spiral in or spiral out. If it's only moving at 1.2 inches a year, that's a pretty stable situation. Not something we need to worry about for a while. So, overlords or not, I have an idea they're not too worried about it being a catastrophe anytime soon.
If you have the technology to build something the size of a planet and then put it in an orbit with another planet, you probably have this stuff more thought through than Hornet Fixer on a drunken weekend in Asia.
Hornet Fixer fixes his planes, sends them over to the people that are going to fly them, and calls it good. Ain't nothing he can do if some dumbass with gold wings on their chest just to mess up what he's taking all his time doing. Same situation may pertain. Hey, we gave this to humanity. We put it there. We got other stuff to take care of around the galaxy. We're boogieing out of here. We'll check back in a couple of million years. Find out what's going on. Yeah, you could probably put some sort of, correcting device so it stays in the same orbit all the time. That requires an energy input. And after all, maybe they just weren't interested enough. They said, here, this is good enough. If they put something out there, that means there's something we can find.
And
Well,
isn't
what-
it interesting?
what-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what if they're still there? What if
Yep.
it is an actual duck blind? We've got the dark side of the moon. You know, if you've got the technology going all the way back to putting the moon in our orbit. First of all, building it, putting it in our orbit. You know, they would. I mean, I'm just they would probably have technology so far advanced from us that they could be coming and leaving the moon, and we would never even know it was happening.
I mean, like they have like UFOs and things like that. And, you know,
Yeah, I mean, you approach on the dark side. You know, they have the
like
technology to
spaceships
block.
and like spaceships first launching from the Earth and then heading up towards the moon, and then all of a sudden accidentally seeing UFOs there, or stuff like that. That kind of thing.
Yeah, well, you know that those NASA feeds just by accidentally get.
Yeah.
You know,
And what if something
they-
crashed? What if something crashed to the Earth and they found one? You know, that'd be kind of weird.
Roswell. Well, you know that's that kind of shit would never ever happen.
Happen? No way. Of course not.
Well, I got a question for you, Eric, John. What if there is no they? What if they is us?
Interesting.
There's
Very
a really
interesting.
good science fiction story series of books out there, which states
It couldn't be us.
is
though.
not.
It couldn't be us
It's
though
a battleship.
because we came from we if you go back through whatever whatever your theory is, say you go back to evolution, all right, you look at us moving through Homo sapien, all right, we went from like Neanderthal to building freaking pyramids and being geniuses overnight. It doesn't make sense. That doesn't there. So
Right.
you laugh because you know exactly what I'm saying. You did not
do.
move. You did not move from point A to point K. It didn't happen.
Right.
There is a break
So,
in there somewhere.
Taking advantage of that, what's wrong with landing 2 or 3 lifeboats from a ship that no longer had the fuel and the technology and they crash land? The survivors come down here and start to have families. And guess what?
Correct.
They happen to look a little bit like Neanderthals, and they look a little bit more like what Cro-Magnons may eventually become. And they said, you know, we've lost all of our technology, and most of us can't remember all the good science because how many of us can build a TV set using baling wire and duct tape?
Right.
So they say, okay, but we'll make the best we can.
And if
Look
and
at all
what
the
would
leaps
be
we had.
crazy is if there were stories like gods reproducing with average people from the planet Earth. Gee, I don't know. Have you ever read Greek lore or shit like that? You know, I mean, think about it. You know, that kind of thing is like all part of different lures from different places. You're like, hold on. Weird, silly things like that.
Well, that's
what
what-
makes sense.
That's why this guy had no problem selling those books. It all tied in pretty well. Everybody go, huh, wow.
Wait a minute. Wait. I mean, and all the different gods, Prometheus and all. I mean, all these different gods started looking an awful lot the same as the other ones. You know what I mean? And then you started having interaction between.
Hi, Tilly.
You know, oh my god. They almost made it, Dr. Mark. What did they get? 23 minutes in?
Almost.
Hey,
Damn,
that is
yeah.
not our fault. That is not our fault. She's
Am I over geeking here? Is that what it is? Am I over geeking?
No, Tilly was
Tilly.
squeaking a ball.
Yeah.
I thought I was
Oh.
over geeking.
Just because
Well, you were.
Yeah.
he has been the chat room has been asking Glockgeist.
Say
Glockgeist.
something.
He's dead.
Glockgeist. Okay, so
I'm here.
he does.
He waits 20 seconds and then he
I'm
answers
here.
you on purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
I have
Your,
my
your,
mic on.
your fan base is wondering if you are alive or not.
I'm alive, or at least a clone of me is alive. Yeah.
Can you give us the double guns? Everyone will know the double guns. Can you give us the double guns?
In other words,
There you go. All right.
there it is.
Yeah, see there he is. You guys that are wondering, Glockgeist is actually here. Of course,
no, he's
No.
not. He's actually there.
he's actually there, not here.
Everywhere.
Wherever there is. Are you in the center of the moon, Glockgeist?
I don't want to answer that. To me, I wouldn't want to live there because to me the moon is too much of a harsh mistress. So I wouldn't want to live there.
A harsh.
Well, and beer.
Okay,
making
he's
beer in a
channeling
vacuum
Robert
of space.
Heinlein. It's just a horrible thing to do in the middle of a show.
So back to the topic we had. Back to the topic. Me geeking out here. Does the different roles of the religious thought processes play into this in the scientific realm, or is it just an added thing that I don't know, it just happens?
William posed me the same question earlier, and I asked him in response another question. What's the difference? Define me the difference between religion and science, and then I'll answer the question.
Well, science is going to be something that has been delved into and has some proven fact, I guess you'd say, to it, and religion would be more of a belief system. That'd be my opinion.
It depends.
I would counter that with a little quote from Arthur C. Clarke. Any sufficiently advanced technology is then indistinguishable from magic.
Valid point.
And the whole point to that is, what's the difference between superstition and religion, or magic and religion? And it all depends on how big your flock is sitting out there and how well established your church is. I would argue that they come from the same source. So my point is it religion? Is it science? I can't draw you a line between the two.
No, because I mean, if you're a scientist, science is a religion.
Well, I think you'd have a hard time selling that to the scientists who actually go to church, and believe that they've separated the two. I'm not taking my work home with me. I'm not taking my church to work.
Yeah, I don't believe they ever separate the two. That's just my opinion. I don't believe they ever do.
Could be.
Okay.
Yep.
So the children in the other room. That's right, both of you two. Get engaged in the conversation. Put Squidward down, and let's go ahead and stop dropping the net. God.
Okay.
You
Are
guys
you going to put him in a timeout?
Yeah, I'm telling you, you have Dr. Mark on here after a while. Let's go.
Okay, I got a quick question for you, and people have read up on this. What evidence did you see? What did you guys come up with from what research you did that the moon's hollow? Or
I didn't
shall we say that
come
the
up with
theories
any.
we have about how it got here aren't right?
I came up with no evidence that it was. What I came up with was incredible, a lot of rabbit holes to go down, and there was a lot of wonderful explanations at the bottom of these rabbit holes, and lots of moments when I went, holy shit, you know what? That's pretty interesting. I didn't walk away with any factual. There was nothing that made me believe that there was no facts that told me that the moon was an actual satellite, and that it was manufactured for that purpose. I don't have anything. What I have is a lot of questions, but I also have a lot of paths that led me to understanding why that person feels that way. Why that
you
person
didn't see
feels
the
that
part
way.
where they flipped it around and it said "Made in China"?
No.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a good story by Isaac Asimov where they go around the dark side of the moon and all they spot is baling wire and 2x4s and canvas, which I thought was pretty fun. I've always liked that.
I have a lot more questions, but I do have a ton of respect now. I always end up with more respect for people that believe something or think there could be more to it. If that makes any sense.
Well, for the 1% of your audience out there that is A, sober, and B, inclined toward actual real scientific facts, as opposed to listening to Giorgio Tsoukalos and thinking he's
I said he was cool. I said he was cool.
He is cool.
That was all. That was
I
all.
think, as I said, he's the P.T. Barnum of this century. He's pretty good. I love Giorgio to death. I'm just not ready to buy a washing machine or a car.
No, of course
not. Okay, a couple of things interesting for people that cannot be controverted because they've proven out there. Titanium on the Earth's surface is a fraction of a percent. Ask anybody who's tried to mine it.
Yep.
Moon rock is 10% titanium.
Yep,
that's nice.
Is.
Okay.
Yep.
Part of moon rocks are made of U-236, uranium-236. uranium-236 on this planet is an isotope of uranium-235 we make by bombarding it with neutrons. It doesn't exist without us making it in a reactor called a breeder reactor. Third, there's a transuranic, or actually post-transuranic element up there called neptunium. It's part of the soil. We make it in nuclear accelerators here in Stanford and Switzerland and stuff. How to get there?
Yep.
These are all things that come to be real interesting. Last but not least, about the soil, the moon soil is magnetic, but the moon has no magnetic poles. How
Right.
does the soil get magnetic?
Right, and with all that
Okay.
aluminum,
When we were all in grade school, which is longer ago for some of us than we want to admit, we were taught that the Earth, about 40 billion years ago, somewhere along in there, was hit while it was still mostly molten by an object about the size of Mars, so about a third of our size. It blew off a chunk. That chunk went up into orbit, gradually coalesced, and became what we call the moon. Yay! That means that the composition of moon rock and composition of Earth rock should be pretty much the same stuff. If they're not, then what happened? Where did the damn moon rock come from? All right. This is one thing I have a little bit of background in is ballistics. If you have a meteor that hits a surface, it doesn't always leave a circle. Sometimes, depending on the angle, it leaves a gouge. If it's a very shallow one, it leaves a long gouge. The Chicxulub meteorite that hit near the Yucatan in Mexico that supposedly killed off dinosaurs, hence all the stories, hit at an angle. All of the ejecta, that is the rock and stuff that was gouged up from it, went downfield further away from where it hit. It made a really long, big splash. It's not a circle. Every single crater on the moon is a circle.
Yep.
All of them. Unless everything hit the moon at exactly 90 degrees. It can't happen. Next, the bottom of all the craters on the moon that are large enough to show it, the curvature of the crater is the same as the curvature of the moon's surface.
Yeah.
It's not deeper in the middle like it is on the Earth. It's a little more shallow. How?
Yep.
That doesn't happen from meteorites hitting. So these are all things that I'm waiting on somebody to say, okay, I'm not going to tell you the moon's hollow, but I sure want you to tell me why these other things happen. Last but not least.
So the moon looks more staged than
yes,
legitimate.
It looks very staged. And the composition,
okay, if it is staged,
the composition is messed up.
It's like somebody said, well, yeah, it's like they got all their Hollywood special effects guys to go out there and say, okay, let's work on this. We'll put so much soil down here on top of this, whatever the sphere is made of, neutronium or whatever. By the way, the mass of the moon is only 1.2% of Earth, but the volume of the moon is almost a full 2%. It's 1.8% of the Earth. That means the moon averages a lot less dense than the Earth. Okay? It's weird. The other thing is the Earth is not a perfect sphere. I assume you've heard that. The moon almost is. The moon lacks being a perfect sphere by 1.2 miles. It's 2,100 miles in diameter. It has a 1.2 mile eccentricity. That's all there is.
Which almost
Anything
looks like a flaw. It looks like a building flaw. It does. It looks like a building.
Well, it could be.
If you're a 16th of an inch
on
off,
one side.
you're a 16th of an inch off on a building. There's a certain degree. You do your absolute best. You're a 16th of an inch off. When you're dealing with something in that kind of mass, that type of mass, a 1.1 mile, it actually is. It's strange. It's weird that it's that. Mm-hmm. It is that like friggin' absolutely perfect.
Yeah, exactly. You're thinking, okay, how does a body that forms in space, like we're all told the moon does, get that perfect? You'd have to go manicure it to get it to do that. The Earth's not that perfect. Even the sun, which spins pretty slow, is not that perfect, and no other planet is. How'd this happen?
And like you said, with the magnesium, the titanium, the aluminum, all the different. 2 miles. What would they say? I think it was the estimates for the crust of the moon was 2 miles. Is that correct? Am I right with that?
No, they don't know yet. That's nobody's drilled, so that's just sheer speculation. Okay, but so if it is only 2 miles thick, what the heck?
Right.
There's one of the real cool things.
I think it had to do with resonance factor. I think it had to do with resonance factor. You could still get the moon soil. Go ahead.
It also has brass in it. How do you get brass on the moon?
Yeah, a combination of metals.
bronze.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's copper and zinc.
Yeah.
Who went up there and smelted out some brass and put it in the moon? Did we have
Exactly.
Spartans, or was there Bronze Age people hanging around up there?
Yeah.
That just doesn't happen unless you make it. I still want somebody to tell me the explanation for all these things. But yeah, you're right. I've read a lot of estimates as to how thick the crust is and what they think might be under it. So far, yeah. Oh, the other real cool thing is the part that makes me worry about cover-ups. Apollo 14, as it took off, took some pictures. There was fog behind them. That's just weird. Okay, on a planet that's completely vacuum, where did the water vapor come from?
Yeah.
So NASA said in 1972, we've analyzed it, and the water vapor came from Apollo 14's water tanks that were left behind. Only to get the fog pattern that they showed, the water tanks would have had to rupture simultaneously. And last time I checked, fog is caused by condensation of moisture out of the air.
Yeah.
Ain't no air and ain't no way for condense. So
See those
they found
subtle
it
little
back then.
things, those tiny little subtle
Really?
things, are what people miss when you go, "Oh, I call it bullshit." They go, "What do you call it bullshit for?" They
Really,
check
it
it.
happened.
You're like, "Bullshit," because of this. You're in a vacuum of space, and apparently we've had this happen. Are you kidding me? It's impossible.
I sent William a YouTube thing that's on there that shows photographs, which show literally dozens of anomalies on the surface of the moon, taken by telescopes from Earth. They show buildings, they show gates, they show airlocks, they show things that are fabricated out of metal and stone that have regular shapes to them. The little moon has been busy up there is all I can say.
Well,
How those things happen?
And for people that always wonder, there's also another piece that slides into this. Right here in the midst of this conspiracy discussion is where you get people that go, "See, told you, moon landing was faked." This is where this kind of steps in.
Soundstage in Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, this is where this comes in at right here.
Okay, John, and as a Southerner, I take offense to how you said that.
Well, I spent 10 years in Naples, Florida, so I have the right to talk like that.
I don't think so.
Okay. How y'all
Yeah, okay.
How about some old peanuts? Right, bit tasty, though.
Right.
No, seriously.
Well, that would be more believable than your moon story.
Well, I did not say the moon story was true. That is not what I said. I said here, hence here is where this enters, stage left. This is where you start to have people go, "See, told you, it's fucking fake." That's where all of this begins to start rolling in the door. I said the wrong accent. Jen didn't like that.
Yeah, again, the wrong accent you need to be using there, pal.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for stopping by.
It still goes back.
Sorry, Dr. Mark, but I had to speak up on that part.
It's all right. No problem.
It still goes back to
sometimes you got to rein them in.
That you can come up with a conclusion, and one person will think you're a complete cracknut, but it just seems like you pile so many things on, and you're like, okay, is there something else? I mean, of course, how many people over the years have said that we never even went to the moon?
Right.
Well, and then you've got the introduction now of other pieces. So if you stay focused in this direction, right? This direction, okay, and you're going from you have interplanetary behavior, which is doing this and doing that, and then you have people removing all Earth life. Boom, removed it all, and we caused the flood so that we can go ahead and restart again. As you go through these different things, then you have to move into the things like dinosaurs. What the hell? What was that? Was that a hoax? You start moving into more and more questions now. Hold on, who's doing this shit?
Okay, Douglas, thank you, points out that the flag is still proudly on the moon. Can we see that? From telescopes on Earth?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
University of Texas at Dallas has a 16-incher reflector, and pardon me for saying that. I know you guys are going to think something about it, but was taking an astronomy class there quite a few years ago. And you could focus that thing in on the right night of a full moon, and it was too bright for you to look at because it's some pretty bright reflection right there. And you can spot the lunar excursion module from Apollo 11 in the Sea of Tranquility sitting there. Now, if we didn't fly it there, how did it get there? I mean, you can tell me, oh, we never really did that. Well, okay, how did we happen to go up there and set that thing down? And in the right light, you can see the American flag on it. We have telescopes good enough to see that. It's only 267,000 miles, and it's pretty clear space in between.
Oh, we went there.
So, yeah.
We went there. You know we went. We went to the moon. Yes, we
But
absolutely.
you can't see the answer.
But I mean, none of this stuff is designed to say that didn't happen. No, but we went there. Absolutely, we did. I mean, I would never believe for a second that we didn't. There's a lot of amazing things that took place. We went to the moon. Okay, where'd the moon come from? That's a different question. I don't have an answer for that. We went there. Absolutely.
Well,
you can see.
here's
it right
another
now to
question
this day.
about things we've observed on the moon. How many guys have walked on the moon?
Let's see. We had 3. Is it 5?
12.
12. Why was I
So
thinking
far,
5? So far, 12.
Wow, 5, 12. Big difference there, buddy.
Well, it is a big difference.
The 12 people,
You're such a dick.
the point I made the other day is one man can keep a secret, two can keep a secret if one of them is dead. But no matter how good you are, you're not going to get a big secret to be behind the lips of 12 guys, even if they all used to be ex-military or test pilots and they all are really good with top secret clearances. Doesn't matter. Sooner or later, over all the years since then, which has been 50 years now, somebody's going to let something slip, which makes me think that whatever's going on up there, the astronauts were not party to it, or at least not very many of them.
Yeah, you would not think that. I wouldn't think that.
So they left the seismographs on the moon, and that's what read the ringing on there. And they had little things like plastic explosive charges, hand grenades and stuff that they set off as part of the experiment up there to find out exactly how much of a seismographic signature they got. And that's how they read the things when things came crashing into the moon's surface. So obviously, somebody was curious about it. Now, it's a routine geological thing to do to set off a seismograph or set off something that triggers a seismograph. So, makes you wonder,
Yeah.
what did they know?
Have we ever tried?
Pre-dawn death as a question. Why have we, of all the times we've been on the moon, why have we never gone to the dark side?
Wait.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What
We
makes
did.
you think they didn't?
We had to.
Yep.
There was no way around it. We had to. We sling.
Did we?
Well, they flew over.
We slingshotted around it.
Yeah, we slingshotted around the dark side of the moon, but nobody's actually explored the dark side of the moon, right? Nobody's been on the ground of the moon.
No,
And
but
exploring
they flew by and took pictures with Voyager.
Okay.
Of the
Yep.
paper mache and the 2x4s?
And
Right.
they've
And the
landed
chicken wire.
robotic landers on the backside.
Okay.
The main problem is we're talking 1969 to 72 technology. It's on line of sight radio. You can't communicate while you're over there unless you have a orbiting satellite to bounce a signal off of.
And if you have a digital
So,
watch, if you have a
at the
digital
time-
watch right now, Voyager has less power than your digital watch has.
Right. So that's why they didn't do it then. As to why they haven't done it since, I'm not willing to bet they haven't. We just haven't been told about it.
They've been to
Well,
Mars, and they were pretty quiet about that.
Well, on that token of the dark side of the moon, does the and I forgive my ignorance, but I thought the moon rotated.
No.
We only
It's
see
always
one
maintains
side.
one face toward us. It technically
see.
does, but its rotation is 28 and a half days.
Oh, okay.
So relative
That's
to the
far
sun,
enough.
it does. Yeah. But it always keeps one face pointed at us.
We only see one side all the time.
Right. Exactly.
So the dark side could actually have a McDonald's.
Well, no, I think the dark side has a transformer ship. That's just me. Uh-oh.
I'm with Jim. I'm
Bumblebee.
sorry, I'm with Jim.
It's Bumblebee.
The Decepticons are coming.
One can and to bring just a little levity to it. One can only hope that something like that's going on up there.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely. But if nothing else, study people. Take a minute, explore something that's cool about this topic to you, and delve into it. And look at it. That's not designed to change your mindset.
Again, I
just
for some reason I always thought the moon rotated. I just didn't know.
But if nothing else, it
sun.
teaches you a lot of different directions to go in this topic. There's so much to freaking learn. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. But realistically, if we're the only source of exploration around, and you put something on the dark side, nobody's going to see it from here until we actually go there and land it. Now, Chinese have landed 3 probes up there robotically recently. One of them, the Chang'e 2 probe, landed, and it's got some pretty cool pictures. And what's really interesting is, okay, you got to ask what the Chinese know. And as military people, that's a question you got to ask all the time. Because the main picture they got, they landed, and they pointed their camera straight at a cave. Looks like a cave. It's got a roof, and it looks like it's flat on top and was worked by hand. Why did the Chinese land exactly the right place to point their camera at a cave?
Well, that was a question that came out a while back. Yes.
Right? How did they know where to land? Are they telling us, round eye, we know you have base here? Sorry, that was more Japanese than Chinese, but anyway. Hey, we're on to you. We're gonna show
That was
you.
one of the most
We know where you're at.
pictures for me.
It's
It was pretty cool.
It's very interesting when you start. It seems to be space is an odd place where weird relationships are made because I laugh right now as I go. So who are we fighting against? Russia. Russia's bad. It's like, how do we get to space? Russia good. It cracks me up when you're like, so we hang out with you guys over there where no one's looking, but over here you're an asshole. Okay, cool. Just making sure I understood that.
I'm not even gonna. I mean, the moon, hollow. Yeah, we can probably explain that someday. You want to explain international politics on this planet?
No.
Can't be done.
Nope, cannot.
Forget about it.
So the weirdest, most unusual fact you've run across in this scenario, Dr. Mark? Fact.
I'd have to say the most persuasive one to me, scientifically, that's got to be that ringing, because there's no real good explanation for it.
Okay.
It's all the questions of, the composition of the soil, the water sources that they have up there, the density of the moon. At the moment, 3 countries have soft landed on the moon: the United States, Russia, and now China. Okay? You're going to tell me none of us ever landed a robotic lander around the backside of the moon? We don't need radio signals anymore to do that. We got some pretty good software these days. I imagine you can lead one down a hell of a lot better than Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin did landing the first time.
Which leads me to this question.
Yeah.
For you. Okay. Why'd we knock it off?
That's
Money.
a good question.
Funding.
Straightforward thing is money. The conspiracy theory part of that is we found what we wanted. We don't have to go back.
But I mean, Mars was a lot of money. All chance, all risk, no benefit. Nobody was moving to Mars. Nobody was planning on moving to Mars. Mars was a long shot. I mean, there's no colonization anywhere in the near future of Mars, and not even remotely close. We have no.
They've been made out.
Everything we had to learn. We had so much to learn, but nothing to really actually gain, other than just some knowledge. But here you have the moon right in front of you. Colonization possibilities. Right. You have this. You have that. You have so many possibilities for the moon right there, right in front of you. But we chose, let's abandon that entire thing. Nobody look at it all. Don't even look. Drive right past it. It's like a bad closed drive-in. Just go right past it. And let's go somewhere else. I always wonder why.
the original impetus, you got to remember to get there as quick as we did, was a space race. And it was the West against the East. It was the height of the Cold War. So Kennedy thought that was really what we had to do to be able to beat the Russians at their game where we were behind at the beginning. If you're looking for anything else besides political motivations as to why we stopped, I don't know of any that are provable. I mean, money was tight. Nixon didn't have it. Carter didn't have it. And interest went away. I hired a NASA engineer out from under NASA to work for me in ballistics for a while in Houston. And he said they are woefully underbrained, undermanned, and underpaid. And they tend to do things on a complete contract basis. If I need something done, I hire an outside engineering firm. So our tax money is being wasted there even more than it's being wasted in other programs. My opinion on that is more than he's not the only one that thinks that way, and they're going to go, okay, realistically, I don't think we're going to go there and settle until Elon Musk or somebody like him does it.
Okay.
I agree.
Right now, it's got to be civilian.
I think you're right on that. I think Musk will be the first one to go up and actually maybe colonize or something to that effect, or even get to Mars. I mean, you know,
well, it
and
just seemed to be
sit somebody on there.
It just seemed to me to be like the first one who goes there has the ability to do titanium mining. They have the ability to do certain types of mining, all right, and can be shipping back a product. It could actually have a viable community up there performing a task that
absolutely
makes that actually has a viability to it. I just thought it was odd that of all the things we could be doing, it's have no inbound. In other words, have no positive cash flow as a result of a negative cash flow. In the space race, I just find that weird. Go ahead.
You got to take people who can't see past the end of their nose past the next election to spend money that is not going to show any fruition until after they're not reelectable anymore. And as long as we have the absolute fart munchers for politicians we have in this country, it's not ever going to happen for the government to do it again. They will not spend any money to get them back in office. And there's no way in the world in the space race, because you got too many people that even if they think we actually landed on the moon, think that there's this dumbing down of America. They don't think there's any good to be had from going back and building a colony. Even if you can build Heinlein's magnetic steel launchers, mine steel, load it with titanium, launch it down a magnetic maglev field, push them into orbit, let them bounce in the Indian Ocean where they don't hurt anybody, and bring them back out and get tons of magnesium for almost nothing. Titanium for almost nothing. These people aren't going to do it.
Well, you've also got war. You've also got war, the biggest money-making thing in the entire world, war, that you could have fixed, denoted interplanetary safety spots, that have whatever, I don't know, cruise missile destruction areas, things that stop nuclear ICBMs, planted on the moon. You can have those things on a stationary fixed object.
Well, the only good bug is a dead bug.
Very good point.
If you're going to have people, if you drop rocks from a higher place than I'm dropping rocks, then you're the one with the gravity on your side. If you're dropping rocks from the moon, even Russian and Chinese politicians are smart enough to realize it would be a very bad thing to have Americans being the only ones sitting up there. There's another reason why they haven't gone any further. They don't want the first base on the moon to be an American base. If it is, then we have an enormous strategic advantage. And I have an idea that exact thing has been discussed over the little red phones more than once.
That's the first thing I would. That's the first thing I would be doing.
Build one, and we're gonna start war if you do it.
That's the first thing I would do is make sure that everybody understands. We're done with your ICBMs. We're done. Here we go. Boom. Finished. So let's figure out something else. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything. I'm just making sure you all understand we're not firing those. Have a lovely day. Let's move on.
I think you're talking about overcoming Russian paranoia and Chinese paranoia. And it ain't going to happen in this lifetime.
Well, that's just my thought process. That's
to slightly shift gears, somebody in the chat room, Douglas, in the chat room a little while ago, said that the flag is still flying proudly on the moon, no doubt. And I know they planted one on there. I mean, come on, we all watched it, and whether you believe the theories or not, and like you mentioned, Doug Mark, we did go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Right.
do you think the flag is no shit still there, or did solar radiation blank it out?
No, I think it's still there.
But I
don't
mean,
even know how
are the
faded it could
colors?
be.
I guess the colors are the colors still there? Are the
You're
red,
not
white,
gonna
blue
have
still there?
Oxidation isn't going to be the same on the moon as it is here on
No,
Earth.
I'm not talking oxidation. I'm talking.
You know,
What
you're
the
going to have a
fuck
whole
was
bunch of unfiltered radiation that's going to do some things to the dyes that made
Right,
it up.
that's
Depending
what I'm
on,
talking
and you're
about.
not talking about today's dyes. You're talking about 1960s technology. So I
Right.
wouldn't be surprised if it faded a little bit.
Okay.
But all the pictures I've seen since then say it's still pretty bright.
Okay.
It's a good question. I mean, you're right. I think the only thing that would get in the way of them, surviving for a while.
Got to get our host in here. Let's
Well,
hear,
no,
let's
and-
hear some of the things he has to think about.
Yeah, fuck him. But no, back on it, and I agree with you on the dyes, and I'm sure that like you said, the solar, the radiation and whatnot. But you talk about they just made the moon landing movie, and they didn't show the American flag in it. What do you think about that? Not to get into politics, just
Oh, wow. Here
just
we
a
go.
basic opinion on the movie.
Say that again. What's my opinion on the
Just
fact that
the
they didn't
movie,
show it?
the movie not showing the American flag on the moon.
Politics is what it was.
It's Hollywood directors trying to be politically correct.
Exactly.
They're going to have to sell their movies other places, and they're cowards. And they've proven time and again they're cowards.
Yeah, that's exactly
Okay, no,
what.
and
That's the
again,
only reason it was. It was
I mean-
because of politics.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
I'm trying to ask a question here, buddy.
Oh, shut up.
And I'm done.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
The
wasn't
one
trying
thing
to
I
be a
was
dick.
thinking, you were talking about the flag. Let's back up a little bit. You got unfiltered UV, and UV is like the most energetic radiation that we're ever exposed to, and it bleaches things in a hurry. So I would imagine that those flags are probably white after 50 years.
Well, and that's what I was thinking, because exactly what I was thinking was the UV rays from the sun, I called it solar radiation. To me, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the difference between all that stuff, but that's what I was getting at.
Well, you got even more energetic stuff coming out there. Bear in mind, this doesn't block it, so UVs are probably mild compared to some of the stuff that hit. It'd be no
True.
time at all. Yeah, I thought about that.
Again, we should
But-
still be able to see that stuff from here.
Oh yeah, you can see them. It's still there. The metal probably
So,
still holding up
is
the
it-
frame and
Isn't it an albino flag?
everything.
I mean,
Well,
it
it's
very
not
possibly could, but I don't have a telescope big enough to see that motherfucker. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's somebody aiming a telescope at it, because because of the rotation is the same, the perspective keeps staying the same, then you should be able to have basically, I can show you a camera showing what's going on the beachfront in Duluth. Can we not see the flag on the moon?
Question. Yeah. Good question. I don't know.
Well, isn't there
I've seen
spots?
people who said they've seen it.
There's spots on the moon that big observatories could shine lasers up onto the moon, and it'll reflect back to Earth based on the stuff that we left on the moon.
But
Correct?
didn't we
Yeah.
have reflectors placed on the moon? On
Yeah,
Apollo
we have
12?
reflectors placed on the moon so that we could shoot lasers up at the moon and then get reflection of that laser back on Earth based on the position of those reflectors that we left.
So that's where I got it all wrong. I was thinking Apollo 11, and I forgot all about Apollo 12 with everybody there. That's where I got
13
that.
14.
That's where I got my number of 5 versus
No,
the number
no,
the number
no,
wrong.
no.
That's right. What?
Cobra fucking Spider-Man or Superman did not go replace the flag.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, what an idiot.
That's just
So
silly.
we have 22 we have 20 apparently there's 24 astronauts who have visited the moon. And I guess 12 who have landed. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
12 have actually walked on it, according to what they say.
Okay. All right. 'Cause I had that. I had a whole bunch of that all figured out.
Yeah.
Something I gotta
One of the
study
problems, and back to what you're talking about the flag, is nobody has a flat enough. It's pretty much straight away from us, so you can see the flag in the shadow, but you can't see it well enough from the side to be able to tell what's happened to it. But it still casts the shadow, which means it's still standing upright.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize Apollo 17 landed on the moon. I had no idea that.
Yeah.
I did not know
Yep.
that. I was not aware of that at all.
So here's the question. Back to the original thing. How come they didn't see anything if the moon's hollow? How come they didn't notice anything? Or how
Didn't want us to.
Well, if the crust is 2 miles thick, you wouldn't have any. I mean, just your surface behavior wouldn't have any bearing on anything.
Yeah, well, apparently, the bonging noise that we cause by hitting the moon with stuff, we have some pretty sensitive stuff these days.
But resonance isn't always the same. Resonance isn't always the same when you're on. That would be a massive resonant surface. Would they even notice that?
No.
Well, it all depends how deep it is. Are we talking about 2 miles worth of soil on top of something? We're talking about 50 miles of soil on top of something.
Well, I'm going.
It
I'm
seems
going
to
by
be-
2 mile estimates. What I'm going.
Yeah.
Hey, can you two stop fucking doing
No, they
that?
can't. No, they can't. I'm ready to take them both over my knee. Fucks.
I could go for a spanking.
In the
Oh,
moon.
Dear God.
Eric's
And
the
it was-
instigator.
And it was at that point that Dr. Mark said, "Fuck you, I ain't never doing this show again
Until tomorrow.
until tomorrow night."
Well, that won't be this show.
That won't
that'll-
be the shit show. That'll be the real show.
Yeah, that'll be more professional.
Yeah, that'll be a professional show because it's on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, that's iHeart material.
Right.
But
Yeah, I heard this show.
it's this is I don't know. I'm having a blast with this. I'm talking too much. I know. But,
Not at all.
this is very, very awesome. I love learning about
No
this.
matter what people want to think, there's still a lot of compelling evidence to. Okay, if you smash something into the moon, why does it ring?
Right.
You know,
And
if
that's,
it's solid,
that's the stuff that's crazy. Is I like when Dr. Mark said, "Well, what do you know?" I don't know anything. I really don't know anything. I don't. But I do know that this raises a very big question. Why is this way, and why is that way? I mean, come on, like there's certain parts that are just like, are you crazy? Brass. That as dumb as that sounds, there are certain people. I am one of them. Dr. Mark, you are also one of them who go, come on, hold on, brass on the moon.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? It doesn't appear in nature. There's nowhere in the world brass appears in nature, but it does on the moon. Are you fucking high? It doesn't
Really?
appear. It doesn't appear in nature. Are you kidding me? It's
With
just
the
odd.
Bronze Age spaceships that the Greeks sent up there.
Yeah, it's
Well,
there's
actually,
certain
if you think
things.
about it, okay, back when Jules Verne wrote From the Earth to the Moon, they launched everything out of the cannon, right? And that's how they hit the moon.
Yeah.
So it stands to reason they leave a little brass behind. I mean, think about trying to reload that.
That's fun.
You need to die from hell.
Yeah, that was funny. That's good. But I mean, when you stop and look at a bunch of other stuff, I mean, and I know there's a lot of people that are sitting out there right now going, okay, yeah, well, okay, you guys are all like bored. Do some studying. Once you do some studying, then a whole bunch of other shit it really starts to come into fruition. I mean, like I said, Darren Kuyu. I'm not going to sit here and spend a day trying to explain that, but go learn it. Go freaking learn that. I mean, there's no. You're looking at something that 800 BC. 800 BC. Somebody builds something that is better than any type of engineering technology we have currently right now in the world. What? And we're talking, guys, we're talking air shafts, full air shaft systems. And as a matter of fact, one of the greatest air shaft systems for deep digging that has ever been discovered was in Darren Kuyu. Think about that. One of the greatest air shaft systems ever discovered is there. To this day, people can live there as a result of the air shaft system. That's in Turkey. What kind of crap is that? It was built in 800 BC? What? Where did the greatest? And by the way, the first time they did this, they were the experts of the entire world. The first time they did it. By the way, they also invented the entire engineering technology. That's kind of fucked up. That's just kind of like, what? That kind of stuff, when you start studying this and you go deeper down this rabbit hole and down that rabbit hole, you start going, wow, there's a lot of very interesting questions that you want to ask somebody who says, nuh-uh. That's when you want to go, yeah, you want to go, well, we'll just, real quick, have you heard of this? Yes. Could you explain? And what you're left with is you're left with more questions. And by the fact that you're left with more questions makes you go, well, that adds credo to the fact that there's more here than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll hush.
The question is, let's back up. Who built it?
Exactly.
Quote Giorgio Tsoukalos, ancient alien theorists would tell you that a crash-landed lifeboat from the moon, which was unable to get back up there, landed and built the city in the Cappadocia region of the Phrygians in 800 BC, now called Darren Kuyu.
He's awesome, though. He's crazy, but he's awesome. I like him.
Yeah, I mean, he makes a lot of money. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like him. He's
okay.
He's a whack.
You're familiar with the Atacama Desert in Chile, right?
Mm-hmm.
The driest place on the planet. You familiar with the 15,000-year-old stone blocks that are sitting up there that have holes that are perfectly circular?
Is this the
limits
submerged?
Of our measurement?
Is this the ones that are
they're
submerged?
sitting up there in the desert.
Okay.
No, they're up on the desert.
Okay, I'm not familiar with
in the Andes.
Oh,
they have a bunch of them up there, and you cannot find a fault that we can measure in the stone, and we are unable to drill holes that straight through stone today in 2018.
I am
the
familiar.
holes are drilled completely straight.
I am familiar with those. I also I got confused. There was another one that was a giant wall made of stones that's completely submerged, like way underground, and they just discovered it from a deep sonar.
Okay, Dr. Mark.
Yes, sir.
Because he won't stop bothering me until I ask you this question.
Oh boy.
Jolson wants to know if the moon is made out of cheese. What do you think?
He sent me the same text.
What do you think that what cheese do you think it is made out of?
What kind of cheese is
Yeah,
that?
what
That's
kind?
Swiss.
Gouda.
Brie.
Gouda, it's
Swiss?
round. Come on.
Swiss has holes in it.
Right. That's my point.
Oh, that's right.
Craters.
Yeah, that's right. It's hollow. That's right. Resident factor is a lot better in Swiss than it is in Gouda. Okay.
Right.
All right. I'm with you.
Yeah, see? I think it makes sense.
Okay, now
So that's the whole
Jolson, shut the fuck up.
Come on, bring something to the topic, Jolson. Give us something here.
Well, what I wanted to know is, out of everybody listening to this thing that's on here right now, let's take a vote. What do you think? Hollow, not hollow, or inexplicable? Or total BS, and I don't believe any of this stuff?
Chat room. We're asking.
No.
I'll say satellite.
What do you mean? Artificial? Real?
I
They're-
think
moon is
I
a
think
satellite.
portions could be artificial.
Artificial
Okay.
alien base.
I lean towards artificial.
Ice
You,
Trojan.
you guys are so full of shit.
Okay, what the craters? Why are they all
here,
perfect? Why does it
here's-
look?
Hold
How
on.
can, but how can
And
we be full of
the
shit
reason I say
if we're giving our honest opinion? How can we be full of shit?
because you are.
I watch Ancient Aliens every week.
You
Look,
eggs.
man. Look? I'm gonna do the whole guy from the History Channel. Aliens, man. But my thing, I understand what you guys are saying, and I'm going to give you shit about it because that's just what I do for a living. But to me, it's
Yeah, you work on
satellite.
airplanes.
It's satellite, but real, not or it's moon. It's fucking just like all these other planets have moons around them. I mean, I don't see how it can be fake. That's just me.
Well,
Why does it sound hollow?
Everybody's got their thing. Everybody has their belief, and for me, there's certain pieces. Just me. There are certain pieces. Number one, resonant factor. I understand radio. I understand resonant factor. Number two, I understand what the fuck brass is. As stupid as that sounds, trust me, that's actually a big to do. It's actually a big to do. There's a few other things that say to me, okay, there is another thing happening here, and it's not standardized space collective gases coming together at the speed of God and compressing into a satellite planet, which is absolutely 100% fucking no matter what perfectly round, which doesn't happen. And all of that sort of comes together to a question of is, you know what? I think there's a little more to this than meets the fucking eye. That's it.
David, you're disqualified.
No. I like David's tactical wingnuts answer there. I really do. And Jolson can kiss my ever loving ass. That's
Full of Brokeback Mountain DVDs.
Tactical wingnuts that is full of Astroglide and Brokeback Mountain DVDs. And by the way, Real Cover Burnout. Did your Amazon package arrive today?
Oh boy.
Oh, and Hector, I'm pretty sure it's not full of Skittles.
Skittles
Well,
box.
that would be a whole bunch of uneven spheres, Hector, that would not spin correctly. It would throw it off, and it would spin out of.
Because Skittles are not perfectly round.
That's
would
right,
throw off the rotation.
You're talking about.
Whoa.
It'll be vibrating a lot.
Even Dr. Mark said the moon is not perfectly round.
It's about as perfect as it could fucking get, is what he said.
Yeah, it's not fucking
But
Skittles
it's-
round.
But it's not. It's not perfect.
You can't get more perfect than that. 1.1 miles is about as fucking perfect as you can get.
So what? You're
Skittles.
gonna come at me with 36 years ago? I might have fondled somebody. What the fuck?
I don't know where the fuck that came from, but I loved it.
Oh, J-Dog, I don't know who sent the butt lube, but I have at least 2 people high on the list.
And high is the key word here.
Hell, were they
And will you
smoking?
tell him to get more than one ice cube at a time? For fuck's sake!
No, he has to get one.
Christ.
One.
Hurry
And he
up,
dropped
make
it.
your
And he
fucking-
dropped it.
Make your drink.
It's
And he
mechanical
dropped
error.
So
Sorry,
everybody
Dr. Mark,
who's
I
here,
am-
thank you very much for being here. Make sure you drop your comments, your questions in the chat room.
And Dr. Mark, I apologize for how unprofessional this show is.
What are you talking about? Well, I studied.
Yeah,
Telling me I'm unprofessional. I studied. I tried.
eat an unprofessional dick.
I tried. Jesus.
I'd have been unprofessional.
Hey, look, we gotta get the screen door open some way somehow.
That's a good point. That is
So-
very valid.
Do you peel those Skittles before you eat them?
Did you
Always,
peel?
always
Whoa!
peel a Skittle before you eat it. Of course. Dr. Mark.
More than one way.
Don't encourage Hector. Don't encourage Hector.
Yeah, don't encourage him, please.
He's
don't
incorrigible.
Incorrigible. I like that. He's incorrigibly incorrigible.
So, Dr. Mark,
All right.
if you could give anybody a a piece of study material. And just for the fact of, we're not going to think about anybody's intellect. We're not going to think about anybody's yearning towards one fact or another fact. Just something that would make people go, huh, wow, that is kind of crazy. Where would you steer the people to say, you know what? I'm not really sure what you understand about this, what you feel about it, or what
RedTube.
RedTube.com. I will stab you in the face with a fucking fork.
There's a website called Gaia, GAIA.com.
Gaia.com.
Like the Earth, ecosphere, Gaia. And they say it's the moon an artificial satellite. And it's got some really interesting points in it. One thing I like about another one, let's see, there's a YouTube channel which is really worth watching on it. And basically it points out some of this stuff. I don't know that I would get everything that I've heard from just one place. But just Google Hollow Moon. And you'll
I guess what I'm saying is if somebody's just blowing by this and they're going, okay, yeah, that's cute, yeah. To make somebody go, but hold on for 1 second, I just want to spark. All I want to do is spark your curiosity. Just spark it.
Go to Gaia.com and say the hollow moon theory is the moon an artificial satellite.
Gaia.com, the hollow moon theory is the moon an artificial satellite. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Is that for me? I went down a lot of rabbit holes today, a ton of rabbit holes.
Yeah,
I enjoyed them all. I thought I learned a lot. I thought I was steered in a lot of different directions. It made me a very happy person. I always enjoy these topics, but definitely there was a ton of material on this. I was shocked at how much material there was available on this.
There really is. And if you try to wade through the stuff that seems to be a little too much ancient astronaut theoretical stuff and go with actual few facts on there, it's very interesting.
Tactical Wingman, I looked, but the page was not found.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't found, considering the page he went to was not the page that we suggested. Pornhub does not carry the Earth satellite.
Not women with horses.
That you know.
I have spent hours trying to find it, but you appear to be right.
Yeah, it's not on Pornhub. That's correct. It is not found.
What?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Black hole.
All of you out there looking for it on Pornhub, do yourselves a favor. Stop now because
Keep
you
looking.
won't find it.
Dig deeper.
Joey would say that. Joey would say
I'll go back.
Okay.
I'll go back to my other
legitimate question. Ed, thank you, Ed. Dr. Mark, haven't UFOs been reported entering and exiting the moon?
Ooh.
We just talked about this a few minutes ago. I have not heard
that part.
We just talked about this a few minutes ago. The different Apollo missions and the appearance in the distances of certain things that have just like out of nowhere appeared, and they were coincidentally in the atmosphere of the Earth
and real quick, Burnout, you're spelling it wrong. It is not gay.com. Gia.com.
Oh, there's the problem. Dr. Mark, could you spell that for these? Could you spell that for these freaks, Dr. Mark, please?
GAIA.
GAIA, guys. GAIA. There's no Y. There is no Y, guys. Yeah, they're not that swift all the time.
Oh my God.
So, Dr. Mark, has anyone brought that up though? He actually raised the point that makes a lot of sense. Was the different objects that have been sighted when nobody was trying to veer thought or direction, all of a sudden, like we had the misunderstanding with the laser from the observatory. Do you recall that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of you guys may not.
If you're just witnessing this by eye, it's pretty tough to make the call. If you see something actually land on the moon and kick up dust, as far as I know, but nobody's gone that far. So I'm willing to say, yeah, I've heard of people who've reported it, but I haven't heard any really good evidence.
Right.
The second thing is, if I'm going to fly a ship, I'm not going to land it where you can see me landing it. I'm going to go around, like you said, to the dark side.
Right. And there's also weird things that happen that actually have explanations. There was an observatory that fired a laser for directional purposes, and it looked like a Star Wars moment in space. It was crazy. It was crazy. Wow, we had a spaceship there that got, shot at by a laser, which wasn't exactly what it was, but it sure looked cool.
What was the laser on a shark?
No,
that's right.
No, it wasn't on a shark, but it was funny because an observatory fired a laser for directional purposes and lining up or whatever the hell it is. But in space, I'll tell you what, it did look pretty cool. It looked like a fucking Star Wars moment. Because
Did it bounce off Uranus?
No, it didn't, Joey. It
can't. Well, there are rings around that.
That's right. It can't bounce off Uranus, Joey, because it's got rings on it.
No, it's because you can put 32 Earths in Uranus, Joey.
Mm-hmm. With lube, yeah.
And all boys know that when it comes to Joey's Uranus, they put a ring on it.
Yes. Well, no, then it would be his Saturn, because he sat on it.
You can't have Joey's Uranus because it put a ring on it. All right, you two. God damn it. All right, so Eric has gone mental and Jeremy has gone mental.
I did not. He put shit on my knife. Literal shit on my knife.
So you guys want to jump in here with Dr. Mark?
No.
How are you boys doing? Are you boys okay? You want to talk to
me? Yeah, we're good.
I stepped in some Shelby dog shit and I had to get it off with Eric's brand new knife. I'm sorry.
Ew. So why don't you guys just go out and sit and drink whiskey with Christine and Mrs. Pre-Dawn Death and out by the fire, and then we can have a conversation without you fuckers making noise. And there they go. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Mark, we have you without all the background noise now. So for the last half hour of the show, we're going to have a great conversation.
Right. Here we go.
You raised the collective IQ in the chat room. I appreciate that.
There we go.
The hard way. So has anybody been sitting in? I mean, there's no way for them to call in on this one, huh?
No, right now there's no call in because I'm still trying to learn how to do call in on a podcast. It's not apparently something I can do. I'm working on it. I'll have it soon enough, but we've got a whole new system now, so it's different.
The link I posted, by the way, there in the messages is one of the better ones I've ever seen about anomalies on the moon surface photographic ones. If you guys click on that and watch it, I think you'll find it pretty educational. It's almost 15 minutes long. It's got a bunch of stuff. You go, wow. So, yeah, there's stuff they've actually taken good photographs with high-resolution telescope cameras.
All right, I'm going to post that. I'm posting that in the chat room for you. There,
I find it's absolutely amazing. Jim's just posted it out there for everybody who wants to know. That'll stay live, by the way, on the system as we go through a podcast. That actual will stay live. We got a new system now for that as well. But
is the moon really filled full of Skittles? What the? Really?
God. I thought you were like gone.
Aren't you supposed to be out back?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. I'm actually out at the fire right now.
It's like this is the Eric's Locked and Loaded. I don't understand why you're here.
Yeah, it's just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah,
but definitely, guys, this is something to actually look at because it's fun to learn some. Just don't develop an opinion, obviously, but go look at it. This will raise some curiosity.
Well, my entertainment in all this has always been it's more fun to investigate it than it is to have a opinion on it.
It is.
I always like to be proven that I was wrong about this and I learned something about it. I think that's kind of the way to go. I'm not sure which side of the fence I'm on as to whether it's hollow or not, but I know there's stuff I want to find out.
That's where I was at when I went this morning. I came into the whole thing. I sat down as far as like 6 a.m. I was like, I want to have the mindset of I am not developing an opinion. I will not develop an opinion. What I want to do, though, is I want to find out what does everybody else got to say. What does everybody else have to say about the whole thing? And I went for that
I used to
direction.
drink a PBR by 5:30 in the morning.
I will stab you, you freaking silly. But it was a blast. I had fun, had a good time. I learned a lot. I got a ton of knowledge from a lot of wild people.
A tall boy.
There's no such thing as a tall boy. It's called a pounder, you little fuck.
If you had all the resources at your disposal you could ever imagine, how would you go about exploring this? What would you do?
Well, first thing I want to do is I want to look at the pieces of information that can't be faked, pieces of information that can't be disputed. I want to set those over here on the side first, so they're always there in my back mind, like brass, like resonance. I want to put those over to the side, so no matter what, as I'm moving through it, and somebody makes my brain yield more towards this direction, I can always throw that back there and go, still, I need you to explain that first.
Okay.
And then if it can't, I go, good theory, put over here. Let's continue. That's
so
kind of the way I move.
scientifically, what would you do? How would you go look at it? What would you do? What kind of things would you do up there if you were there?
First thing I want to know is, for scientific principle, first thing I want to know is where are all the what are the factors that make other people feel, not silly things. I don't want anything silly. You need to give me a scientific explanation as for, like, let's say resonance. I can deal with that. I need to see all of those. What is this person, that person? What are all the different things everybody has that make them say, no matter what you say, I call foul because of this.
Okay.
This one line right here can't be faked. This one line can't be explained. So this is my reason for saying I call foul. I want to get all those first.
Okay. Cool.
Then I'd
so
want
you're going to make them totally lie and improve their stuff.
Yes.
Let's say you wanted to run an experiment yourself. What would you do? I mean, what kind of things would you look at?
Theoretical physics, huh?
No, I'm talking about practical experimentation. Hard, real-world stuff. How would you do it?
There is a lot of things that could be done, but you're talking a lot of expense there. So we're going to have to do it on a real-world budget.
Okay.
First thing I'd want to do is I'd want to see what we have available for visual, for visual. So what experiments have been done in conjunction with different beliefs at different planetariums or different observation points?
Yeah.
Just drill a hole.
Just drill. That's the first thing. Is the moon hollow? Let's drill. Let's see how thick the crust
okay,
is.
great, awesome. Could you please give me your results?
Yeah.
I'm looking for those. That's one of the things I'm looking for. But no, I mean, I'd have to say I would have to explore, obviously, what real world practical experiments could yield an explanation that wouldn't be like
the Bruce Willis movie.
completely
It's possible.
He's such a fucking dick. Dr. Mark, you just gotta love him, right? You just gotta love him.
Well, it's either that or shooting.
I'm telling you, and that's where you're at. Too.
Dr. Mark is not a violent person. I'm not being shot.
And that's why that's why you have him on your show, because he's.
But he has people.
Because everybody else will kill you.
Can't
No,
be done
I
for money.
would want to have practical experiments that would actually prove something, and then I would want to go for those. And the rest of it, I think I would just look at other people's explanations for why they feel that this is right or they feel this is wrong. And I'd want to look at those right now. And from that point on, I don't know how else I would go about it, because it's such an expense to perform any other experiments, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but putting aside from the expense, I guess my problem is that I spent too much time in industrial labs.
You win.
I want to go look for them myself. I want to take Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck up there with a drilling rig.
Well, but you didn't say that. I was sitting here going from a normal I'm John, and I live on planet
Bruce
Earth.
Willis wins.
I win.
Hey, man.
He's like, I want space cowboy. Dr. Mark's like, I want space cowboys.
I can run.
I want space cowboys, bitch.
Okay. I really think that you can take a fairly lightweight rig up in the shuttle. It doesn't really weigh that much. I'm going to set it up on the surface at the bottom of the nice clearest spot I can find in a crater, and I'm going to start drilling. And I'm going to see exactly how many lengths of pipe. Because stop and think about it. Your limitations are nothing like they are on Earth. You got 1/6 gravity. Okay, you got ultimate power. All you do is lay out an acre or two of solar cells. You don't need to run this thing off anything but straight electricity. Have all of your machines. You don't even have to shield them because it's nothing but vacuum.
Yeah, but
So you don't have to
density,
worry about air getting in.
density means you could go as deep as 50 miles for residents.
Could be, but guess what? Let's assume it's not that far. Okay, here's two things you find. If I go down 50 miles and I haven't hit anything but dirt, then I know the crust is 50 miles deep. Hey, that gives me at least one good reference point for my experiment. If I go down there and I hit something that doesn't want to break or I can't drill through, and then I move over a little ways and go another same distance and I hit the same thing, what the heck was that thing? Yep.
Right.
Exactly. You hit something you can't get through.
That's not fair. You asked me a normal question. I thought you were being.
It's called being sandbagged.
He gave you a normal Dr. Mark answer.
I know. I was like,
Right.
okay, well, the social geometric possibilities surrounding the governing factors. He's like, fuck you. I want space cowboys, bitch.
Right,
No,
exactly.
fuck Space Cowboys. I want goddamn Ben Affleck and Bruce Willis. That's
Right, I want Armageddon.
Yeah,
I want to
I
feel
was
the
sit-
power between my legs one last time,
I
baby.
was sitting here
Right.
thinking it was a Dr.
Dude,
Mark
Buscemi.
show. I didn't know it was that.
Well, I mean, if you're going to get hypothetical, let's go hypothetical. That's what I want. The titanium fucking space shuttles. I want the whole fucking 9 yards.
Oh, fuck.
Right.
Well, yeah,
No,
sorry,
no, I
wasn't
didn't.
there.
No, I didn't eat the worm.
But no,
Let's say you don't want to do that. Let's set up a couple of analytical instruments up there and start sampling the soil instead of bringing it back.
All right,
Let
well,
me have
that's where I'm
a-
curious. Well, hold on, that's where I'm
Like
curious.
you
That's
Packard
where I'm
mass
curious.
spec and move it around.
That's where I'm curious. So let's back that up for 1 second. This is where my curiosity comes from here. For now, this is my for all you people out there that are gonna give me shit. This is my conspiracy idea here. Why have we not done more of that when the cost? And I can't be convinced the cost is totally prohibitive because that's bullshit. The cost.
Yes, it is.
The cost to get small analytical items up there isn't that bad. All
Nope.
right, so that cost is totally within realm. Why have we not explored more into a sphere that sits that close to us that we know very little about? Why have we not gone more into let's just learn all about it so we totally have a freaking 100% knowledge of the thing that's right fucking there. We all look at it, we all stare at it. It's been there since the beginning of time as we know it as it's been recorded. You like that? That was cool. I just put that in. So why don't we experiment more with that? I don't understand that. But they don't want to for some reason.
We can go real cheap. One thing we have a whole lot of. According to all the governments on the planet, there's nobody up there. Go around the backside. Launch an ICBM with a 10 megaton warhead at the backside of the moon. Let it go blam. Put your seismographs on the opposite side of the moon in a big pattern, say 1,000 miles wide. See what happens. You might blow a hole in it. It might go like a balloon and head off to the Andromeda Galaxy, and we're short one moon.
You
It
never
might
know.
crack open like on Doctor Who and let a giant dragon out, and the dragon's eggs has to be the moon. But the whole thing is, as long as we're gonna let's call them. They don't think there's anything there. Let's let them do it. We got a lot of nukes. There's nothing up there to hurt. Send one.
Well,
That's a really easy experiment.
I would love to know more about it because if nothing else, it is another place, right? It's that close to us, that's involved with us. It's our satellite, and we are it's the closest thing that we have in space to us. So why not learn more about it? At least have a true understanding of it. It just seems like we went there and called it good.
Hey, Dr. Mark, remember that time at band camp?
Oh, I'll stab you.
I played the tuba.
Hey, welcome to Locked and Loaded with John Solar.
Everyone knows
I'll
there
be
plays the
quiet,
rusty
Jim,
trombone.
now. I'll be quiet. Apparently I've talked too much.
No, you
No,
ain't talk too much.
no.
Geek City, but you
Yeah.
ain't talk too much.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a freaking total goddamn geek. You all know that shit. You kidding me?
I bought
Who
Geek
else
Squad.
actually studies
I get
12
that.
hours for a show? Really? Come on.
I go to Best Buy. Did it make me a geek?
I actually studied for it, so yeah. I'm
No,
totally geek.
no Gun Wild. It was a tuba.
He knew there was going to be a test.
Yeah, he
Well,
knew there was going to be
No,
a test.
actually,
No,
I was hoping there was going to be a test.
Dr. Mark, Gunwild, what we talked about earlier tonight, Gunwild asked if the flag that Neil Armstrong planted on the moon is still there. I don't know if he heard that part of the show, but if you want to answer that.
Yeah. There were 6 of them total planted up there. Neil Armstrong's just the first one. Between all the missions that landed there should have been 6. And according to people who take photographs and telescopes and so forth out there, you can still see each flag, especially Neil's, and the shadow cast by that flag. So it's still there. Can't tell what condition it's in from the angle you can get a picture, but the flag is still there. Still casting a nice rectangular shadow on the moon dirt.
Well, see, to me, and again, just me being me, and I did, me being the old fart that I am, I did watch the lunar landing on CBS with Walter Cronkite, and
Live.
live.
Yes,
Yes, I was a
live.
kid, and
Most of us did.
to me, it was like, holy shit, what's going on here? Even my, and my parents, I actually was at my grandfather's house when we watched it. My parents, my grandparents, and me and both my brothers were there, and we were in awe of what we were watching at the time.
Yep.
So
We were at my parents' house, and we had my mom's employer, who was a pediatrician, his wife, all their kids, all the neighbors, all their kids, and all the engineers my dad worked with were all right in this living room, listening to him say the first words of the moon, listening to Cronkite announce it. It was pretty cool. I still remember it pretty well.
I got it, and I'm with you. It was. Right now my hair is standing up on my arms. Just remembering it back. I mean, it was awesome. I mean,
I remember all the lead up. It was so weird because they were trying to sell everything with a moon theme, and they had like moon fries and moon burgers, and they had recipes and life and look on how to make this stuff.
The
so
moon
you have
pie.
the right kind of ambiance for your watching party.
Moon
Jim
pie.
picked up some moon ass.
Okay, Jim wasn't old enough to pick up ass yet. Okay, Jim was a kid.
Yeah, and your
But-
point?
Back then, though,
Still,
back
still,
then,
still had the mushroom cap. Just saying.
back then, we were so amazed by so much. I haven't had any of that type of amazement in a long time. In nowadays,
But no,
there's
the
no
whole
amazement.
And again, not to take away from Dr. Mark, but the whole moon landing thing, it wasn't just the United States. The whole fucking world,
Yeah,
if
the
you
world-
look back on it,
Yeah,
the whole
watching.
world
True.
watched this. It wasn't just the United States.
But now we land on Mars.
As an adult
nobody
now, I
cares.
can look back and say that.
Right, we land on Mars
Yep.
now. Who cares? Who gives a shit? We land on Mars.
Right. Yeah, hey, look.
They haven't landed
you know,
any people on Mars.
Well, no, but
Yeah,
I mean, still, that was a big deal to go to Mars and actually like land something there that actually was able to send pictures back and go, "We did it. We were there." But it's not
Yeah.
the same anymore because we don't have that mystery. We don't have that. I don't know. For me, it's like I'm still enthralled because I'm a freaking total ass geek. But you don't see everybody just like sitting on the edge of their seat going, "Are you fucking kidding me? We're at Mars? Really?"
Yeah.
I mean, and Voyager. A lot of people don't even realize now. Is Voyager a big deal? Yes. Voyager is fucking a huge deal still. people don't believe it still
Well,
is.
here's the thing: we put a rover on, or whatever you want to call it, on Mars, and what did they do with it? They made a big dick outline on fucking Mars.
But it's still the.
I mean,
fact that
seriously,
were
they
able-
did.
They were able to.
What else do you
control-
expect a robot named Opportunity to do?
Yeah,
Well, you know, hey, if I'm going to put land a piece of equipment on a planet or whatever, you know, on another asteroid or another celestial being, billions of miles away from me, yeah, I'm going to make a dick. Okay.
Well, that's totally messed up. But still, the fact that we actually were able to go to Mars, we were able to put a sphere there that could communicate back to us. That's pretty fucking amazing. I mean, like,
Yeah.
holy shit. And I mean, it shows you that there's more. There's still more to be done. Yes, there's still more to be done. I would love to see more done at the moon. Myself personally, I think that we've got a lot better.
Hey, you want to see the moon? Hold on.
Oh, here
No.
freaking God.
No.
He calls me a nerd. He calls me a fucking nerd, and then he drops trowel in the middle of a radio show.
Hey,
On a radio
Gunwild-
show,
Gun-
he drops
Gunwild-
trowel.
Hey,
Gunwild is right. We're trying to get on iHeart. Watch your language. Jim, keep your ass in your pants.
Hold on.
my ass is still in my shorts.
Wait. Your ass is trying to get on iHeartRadio?
Mhm.
Actually, now that I think
And
about
again,
it,
I
Jim, go
must-
ahead.
I must
Gonna require some
apologize to
creative
Dr.
editing.
Mark. I must apologize to Dr. Mark. We have to have a little fun on this show.
But
You
some
know.
great
Un-
learning does
un-
happen.
Unfortunately, everybody listening, but Dr. Mark got to see Jim's ass.
No, well, maybe a little, just a little, not everything.
And folks,
Just-
that was
yeah.
what an old
It was-
satellite.
let's put it
looks
this
like.
way.
That's what an old ass satellite looks like.
No, let's put it this way: is Jim's ass hollow?
Yes.
No.
The
Wait,
dark side of Jim's
About
ass.
me.
The dark side of Jim's ass.
I was gonna say, Dr. Mark did not see the dark side of the moon. That's all I have to say.
Oh man.
The whole thing is, Eric, if it is, aliens have anything to do with it? I'm thinking in terms of
Yeah,
probes here.
yeah. Let's
You know,
change the subject back to that damn moon thing.
No, I think that aliens and his ass probably have a lot in common.
Yes.
There was no Klingons on Jim's. No,
Oh, I can't.
shut up.
I can't wait for the promo.
Yeah.
No,
Jim's ass and Klingons. Wow, I could do
And
a
the
lot
dark
with that.
side of the moon.
Yeah,
Dark
well, we
side
play
of the
Pink
moon.
Floyd in the background.
Yes, very
Damn it.
much. There's going to be some Pink Floyd involved in that, even though fucking Roger Waters is an asshole now. Hey, I still love Pink Floyd.
There you go,
I
Dr.
love me some Floyd.
There you go,
Don't get me
Dr.
wrong.
Mark. Since Christine's not here right now, we don't have a musical selection for her promo tomorrow. You want
Yes,
to look
that's
She,
just
she,
true.
is, she is listening.
Black holes, and we don't have a musical selection. For
I'm
her,
thinking
I got
Soundgarden,
one for
Black
you.
Hole
Black
Sun.
hole sun.
Let's go better than that. You remember the Disney movie, The Black Hole?
Yes.
Oh,
Pretty good
yeah.
soundtrack to it.
Okay.
Yeah, the one where
Oh my God!
had the
yes,
robots
let's
and all
fucking
that?
see what it is.
That was
Yeah,
a freaking
Is there-
awesome
Pretty good
movie.
that's got to be
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take care of that. All right. Okay.
John's got it. John's got to handle
All
it.
right. All right.
That Dr. Mark, that was honestly an
Very-
awesome movie.
Very much so.
Yeah, it was. Only they hadn't tried to make it, a space opera instead of actually pretty good science fiction.
Yeah. Disney
Well, you
does
know,
that
you-
kind of stupid shit.
If you couldn't find that particular music selection, you could use maybe Queen's Flash Gordon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just don't say Soundgarden, because there
No,
are
that's Black Hole
obvious.
Sun,
There are
and we're not gonna
obvious. There's obvious gay suggestions.
Well, then you don't want Queen's Flash Gordon either, do you?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do.
In that movie.
No, I don't want to do that.
Hey, look, don't be fucking up my song. All right.
No, I think I've been going with Dr. Mark's idea. I like that.
No,
like
I
that
agree. I think Dr. Mark's idea is the bomb. Yes.
It was very good. I like it.
That's the link to the song, The Overture.
There
which
it
is
is.
what they play when they show you the spaceship.
And there it is, right there.
Yep.
And you can hear us all fucking clicking on it. Yes.
All right.
I like
So
it.
we've established we don't know if the moon's hollow, but we do know it's full of Skittles.
And we would like to see the return of the United States of America to the moon, and let's do a little more digging for the love of God. Let's at least find out what's there. I think we need to explore a little bit more and have a little bit more control over the giant satellite that surrounds our particular
Hanging up
sphere.
there all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of cool to know, there's a giant satellite running around our sphere here. Let's take a look. What do you think?
Into your anus?
No, freak boy.
So you're okay.
You know what? Next time you're
on the
studying,
moon.
next time you're going to study, I'm going to call you,
Look for
and we're
that.
going to study together. We're going to study together next time. We're going to have to, sit down and turn on the computer, and I'm going to be giving you
12 hours of
the
nothing
social
but
and geometric possibilities
Just
surrounding.
study.
Yes.
12 hours, John. Come on.
I mean, seriously, it's fun. It's a blast. Learn
Well,
what you don't know.
On a work day.
Hmm.
I'm retired. I don't work.
So you know
You
why
didn't
you
think
did
about
12 hours worth of research and Eric did 13 seconds.
No, Eric never did
Yeah,
13
you know who's in
seconds.
charge.
Eric literally went, I picked the name of the show, you fucker. What do you want?
No,
God! I picked
He
the
was
name of the
We-
show.
We watched 13 seconds of Ancient Aliens, John. Come on. I mean, it was just the intro
You
of
watch
the show.
again. You watched 13 seconds of Ancient Aliens, and the guy with the hair went, "Aliens, man."
Aliens,
Dude,
man,
it's
and that's
awesome.
where we're at.
Xenomorph.
Come
It's
on.
going to be a bug hunt.
It's a bug hunt.
He is amazing. He's funny as hell. He's got the craziest wild black hair. This Greek guy. I always get his name wrong. Dr. Mark gets it.
Hey, John, have you ever seen his wife?
No.
Whoa! Hey! Whoa! Hey!
Whoa. Links,
Hey,
links, or
whoa.
it didn't happen, Dr. Mark.
Links, or it didn't happen. Thank
But
you.
this guy's a trip. He's got like he has a head of hair. It is a head of hair. And it is like wild, crazily done. You're like,
No,
I'm
we've
not quite
seen the
some
guy.
alien.
We're talking about his wife. Fuck off, John.
oh my God. Oh my God. I have not seen the guy's wife.
Oh my no, Dr.
See
Mark
it.
said.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. Mark said, "Have you seen his wife?" That's
No.
what
So
I'm.
let's
wondering.
see his wife, Dr. Mark.
Oh, no, Dr. Mark,
Yeah,
is
you wouldn't
awful.
think she'd be married to him, but she's pretty cute.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I haven't seen her.
He
Well,
said, "Oh, wow."
She doesn't appear. She doesn't appear with him on a regular basis, obviously.
Oh no, she's got other shit to do. You know?
But he's funny
She's
because you got
got
this
time
guy
for
that's
that
got this
shit.
crazy sometimes he's shaven, sometimes he's not shaven. He's got like red fucking cheeks, this crazy insane black hair. He's like, okay, so anyways, he's just like, wow, oh wow. But he's I like him. He's funny. He's actually, I actually as a scientist, I can listen to this guy because he's actually got a draw. He has a draw.
Oh yeah, he does. He's better than all the rest of the pseudo gay guys who are doing all the other
Oh
Ancient
my
Alien stuff.
God, I'm so
go,
tired
okay,
of the
You
homos.
guys are
in
not
the
somebody you
fucking
can ever
science
invite to a party.
I am so tired of the homos of the science film. It's driving me crazy. And
Yeah.
everybody who's trying to make a fucking name for themselves in the what's that freaky YouTube science show? Outrageous Acts. All these idiots.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot make a name for yourself in science on that show. So shut the fuck up. That's for like Partridge Family fucking rejects. Are you kidding me? Stop trying to make a name for yourself. There
Wow.
are some idiots on that.
John, calm down, buddy.
Well, it's disgusting. They fucking run around trying to do that shit. I want to see some actual fucking science. Give me some science shit.
Well, you were talking about the aliens and everything. I mean, we got independently targeting particle beam phalanx. You can fry half a city with that.
Hold on, Jim. You just made a very cool sentence. Delve in.
What?
Let's talk more. Your particle beam theory.
We got tactical smart missiles, phase plasma pulse rifles. We got sonic electronic.
Well, hold on. Go back to the
we
phase.
We got nukes. We got knives. We got sharp sticks, John.
Pulse. I want to hear more about the plasma pulse. Let's talk more about that because believe it or not, that has been used. It has been used in space, and it has been used, and it's been successful. So let's talk more about that.
We got phase plasma pulse rifles. Now, see, they fire caseless rifle.
Dr. Mark, he has no idea what we're talking about.
No.
By the way, that has been used.
I'm just going with aliens, man. Aliens.
Yeah. They've actually...
every time you say the History Channel, I keep seeing the guy with the hair. I'm just.
Yeah, you can't miss him. He's got black hair. He's got a lot of it. It's crazy. It's wild, but he's fun because he's actually entertaining. And if you're going to be a scientist and you're going to talk a bunch of shit, be entertaining for the love of God.
Entertaining. Yes, J-Dog, in the 40-watt range. Yes, we want those.
And he is entertaining, and he will get your attention and at least make you look at him and listen to him for a
Yep.
See, Dr. Mark's like, you assholes went way off topic.
No, we didn't. We actually did very well. Dr. Mark, do you think we did pretty good? I think
we did on topic longer than normal.
Well, better than usual.
Yeah, I think we did actually way better than usual because for a few things we actually had a topic, number one. And number two,
we have no phone.
Yeah, there was no phone, which was a big plus.
Now, hold on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We didn't have a phone, so guess what? You didn't hear ring ring. Caller, you're live.
Hey, what you fuckers doing? Hi.
Mario.
I like the fact that you didn't have all of those people calling in, so you had to pick up the slack yourself and do the interruptions on your own, which I really appreciated. That was really some. Yeah. That was seriously cool.
And I studied.
By the way,
I did study.
Monstrum Tactical has a phase plasma pulse rifle for $32,999, but they're not in stock right now.
Yeah, but they're not in stock. Yes, and I saw that too. I was like, I so want one. But
Thank you.
They're not in stock. I can't buy them.
I'll find 33 grand somewhere.
Yes,
no,
very
Dr.
much
Mark,
so, Dr. Mark.
Dr.
Thank
Mark,
you, Dr. Mark, for the win.
What was
Thank
the
you.
engine? What was the engine that they had?
It fires a helium. It fires a small charge of superheated helium, and has a residual magnetic field. So the helium superheated stays until it hits an object, and then the heat and the magnetic field are discharged.
Okay, I just want the fucking gun. You didn't have to explain it all.
Oh no, but you need to hear this. You need to hear this. Well, you said something and it was
Awesome
real,
one.
and I was like, "Oh my god, Jim just said something was fucking real." I want to talk more about it.
It is. That's right.
I just want the fucking 5mm caseless ammo.
I'm like, let's talk. Holy shit, it made sense. Let's talk.
Fires superheated helium. There ain't no case.
Fucking A.
No rounds.
Exactly. Yeah, there's some pretty
It's
good shit. in this
fair
one.
change to most of the gun owners around here.
Now, there was also an engine that was utilized in space that was under the pulse principle, correct?
Well, there's more than one pulse rifle in the science.
No,
fiction,
but there was an engine. There was an
realm.
engine that was actually utilized. It was actually utilized under the pulse principle. I'm trying to think of what the actual terminology for it was.
Well,
there
you know,
actually is one we're flying right now. It's called the Aurora, and it uses the PDWE, Pulse Detonation Wave Engine.
Exactly.
It's shaped like a shuttle. It flies around Mach 2, and it uses helium in liquid tanks as its main thing, and once it gets up to a high enough speed to heat the tiles on the bottom, it squirts out, not helium, hydrogen. And the hydrogen detonates underneath it, which is what gives it lift and forward thrust.
Okay.
And it exists. That's why we retired the SR-71. We're using those in its place.
Okay, yeah.
Wow.
I do.
Now see that might be a show for another time because I'm interested in that.
Yep.
When I said it, you weren't interested. Now you're interested.
No. You didn't say shit about the Aurora. I'm big into the Aurora, motherfucker. I work on airplanes for a living, asshole.
There is an engine. There's actually an engine that utilizes the principle that we were speaking of.
Yeah, but no, it's just shut up, John. No,
Jim wants a fork in my eye. If you ever wonder what it sounded like, that's what it sounds like. Jim wants a fork in my eye, right?
But and yes, Johnny Concho, the phase plasma rifle is not at Smith Wesson. How do you know? That's all I have to say about that. And Cobra Burnout's correct. When Ibomi has one, it's called a lighter in his cornhole.
Unsubbed.
Bands. No, Ed said it right. Banned. So banned.
Uh-huh.
Boy, I wonder if we actually have enough for a show about that. That'd be an interesting show to air. I don't think it'd be an hour, though. Probably lose half the audience.
We got a couple minutes left here. Myself, Hornet Fixer here, Dr. Mark. I would love to, or just to tell you that thank you very much. This was a very eye-opening, and this is my first Dr. Mark show that I've been live on with you guys. Very cool, awesome, dude. Thank you very much.
Glad I could help. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I really mainly hope everybody got their eyes open a little bit. The whole point is to learn to ask more questions and not to make up your mind.
Well, no, and I agree.
Exactly.
Ask questions. I agree. But as far as the moon's being hollow, we're going to agree to disagree on that one, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not hollow. It's filled full of aliens.
It's cheese, man. Cheese.
It's Swiss cheese full of Skittles.
There you go.
No.
All right, no, I'm done.
That's it.
Dr.
That's
Mark,
it.
I'm done.
Hornet
That's
Fixer
it.
is
I'm done.
finished. He has an explanation. He needs no
done.
more. That's it. No more he needs. Swiss cheese and Skittles.
Oh my god. That's fucking awesome.
Yep. That's why we should drill. We wouldn't have to make any more. Reel it up, package it,
now,
shoot it down.
I want to be on the drill. I so want to be on the drill crew. I really do.
The name of Jim's drill crew would be
like
fun.
your naval
The name
career.
of Jim's drill crew would be Fondue. That'd be it.
Yeah, you know why it would be called fondue? Because we found oil on Uranus.
Oh.
Enough.
Oh, yeah, so let's go ahead and call him quits.
No, seriously, I want to be a door. I want to be a door gunner on a space shuttle. Come on.
I don't know if they need a door gunner, so you won't do a lot.
Fucking A. I have a pulse rifle
With a 40-watt range.
with a 40-watt range. Oh my god, I can't breathe.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good. 40-watt raise. I love it. Hornet Fixer and his new LED sidekick rifle.
Right.
Oh.
I hope he lives.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, really. So, Dr. Mark, if you're going to leave anybody with anything, if you're going to leave them with it and say, hey, I want to make you just go at least study something. Don't even say the word study. I want to leave you with something that's going to make you go, at least go look. For the love of God, go learn something and look. What would it be?
Yep. Today, anything. Hollow moon, black holes. Main thing I tell them is no matter what you're looking at, keep your mind open and your opinions closed until you know enough about it to express one.
There you go. And people, that's actually, if you go into it with a mindset of I'm not fixing anything, and I'm not being taught anything. All I want to know is what does Bill think? What does Tom think? What does Sherry think? What does Carol think? What do all these people think? What do you think? What's your opinion? So that I can learn what you believe about it, and then I now understand how I feel, but also how you feel. Holy crap! That's actually an important little moment in time.
And
millennial concerned about your feelings.
and if you guys have enjoyed this entire subject matter, you can catch Dr. Mark tomorrow on
Miss Bomey's show.
Talking black holes.
Yes, and that actually is one I will be listening in on because now that's spelled HOLES. So
You're going to be listening on because you live there.
well, no, because then I give her an extra. Yeah, you're right. Yes, absolutely.
Stop talking about me.
Well,
Oh, she walks in and
she just.
As she walks in, yes.
Wow.
Okay, it's Dr. Mark. I appreciate you being here. I look forward to hearing the show tomorrow. And
Very much so. Yeah.
we need to get together because if you got a hole in your schedule, like a black hole, I actually wouldn't mind you being on a little bit more often than every 2 years.
All right.
This really was a good show because
Awesome. Yes.
I think regardless of what you thought when you saw the title, is the moon hollow? Yeah, the smart ass comment.
Yeah.
The winner is everybody that said what cheese is it made out of in the comments of the promo, which John Solar did an awesome job. So that the promo was awesome. Thank you very much. But at least you're probably walking away going, I mean, really, NASA and a whole bunch of big names are wondering, is the moon hollow?
Right.
So, Dr. Mark, thank you very much.
Nobody knows.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, and like I said, you find some holes in your very busy schedule, you let me know, and pick a subject, and we'll do this again.
Can do. I kind of like the idea what Hornet Fixer's talking about there. I think the Aurora and the Black Swift are probably pretty good planes to pursue.
Well, you know, he has his own show.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, it's an hour on Wednesday nights. I'm an hour ahead of Eric because I'm on the East Coast. So,
but we will figure something out, something interesting.
And yes, and Glock Ice, yes, you are invited also. Yes, sir.
He fell asleep an hour and a half ago.
Did he really? No, I just saw him say something. But no, I would love to have you on my show. Honestly, I would. So just we're have to get together, get with John, myself, Eric, whoever, and we're figuring it out, buddy.
Can do. I appreciate the invite.
Okay, again, thank you
you
very
guys
much,
for having
Dr.
me. It
Mark.
was a huge pleasure. Thank you, sir. We'll see you guys next time.
And
See you
John
all tomorrow.
Solar
Bye.
is going to hit the button. Is it playing? No.
Yes, it's playing.
Jim is gay.
Is it playing?
John doesn't like when I talk during this part, so don't say anything. No.
Fuck it.
No,
Shut,
fuck it.
Eric,
No.
shut the fuck up,
Seriously,
Eric.
don't say
Shut the
anything.
fuck up. God damn it, Eric. Shut up.
Damn it, Joey.
No, we can't. This is why we can't have good things.
Fucking little prick.
This is why you can't have nice things.
Get the fuck out of here.
It never has a nice thing. Eric.
Jesus.